Be patient with me with the screen sharing. Okay. Um, all right. And now I'm going to press present. There we go. Okay. And make my video smaller. So I won't be able to see you guys too much, but I will check in every now and then. This is a talk that I normally do in person, so I know off the back of my hand there's one slide I'm going to skip. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining. I'm so happy that you're all here to learn about branding and storytelling. This is You're a Book, You're a Brand, and let's begin. So this is me. I'm just a mango loving human being. That's really all you need to know about me right now. I'll share more about my story throughout the presentation. I had a Zoom background that was all mangoes. Maybe I should put it back on, but I don't know. It makes my hair look funny, so I took it off. Okay, let me check the chat. Okay, all right. So that's just Todd sending some stuff. Cool. So here's the agenda, just some things I'm going to cover today. So telling your story, how others tell your story, increasing brand value, and your brand value's impact. So your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room, right? Some guy named Jeff Bezos said this once. I'm sure you all know who he is by this point. Founder of Amazon. And this is what he said about your brand, right? So what are people saying about you when you're not in the room? I think that's a great way to think about it. It's all about your impression. So part 1, telling your story. Every day you are writing the book of your life, right? You're born, you learn things, and then you start making decisions, right? You get older, you start making decisions about where you want to take your life, what you want to do, how you want to contribute and impact, what your legacy will be, what industry you want to be in, the people that you know, the people that you leave behind or move forward from. Every day you get to choose these things, right? And this is your own personal story. This is your book. So throughout this presentation, I want you to think about, what's your story? What's your story been so far? Where's your story going, right? What plans do you have to write in your book? Maybe you want to make some changes in the book, and that's okay too. Just think about what your story is for now. And by the end of the presentation, you'll understand how to sort of incorporate that into your personal brand, because that's what makes you unique. So humans love stories, right? We were built on stories. This is how we first started communicating. We love stories because they can teach us lessons, because some things you can't learn in school. We can empathize with others. We learn to have compassion, and they allow us to connect because we're all just humans anyway, right? At the end of the day. So a small anecdote I want to share. I don't remember the exact anecdote, but I'll sort of make it up as I go because I remember the premise of it. So there is a man living in a village in the East, in an Indian village. And every day he would deliver water, right? And he would carry the water on his shoulders, like on a rod, basically. And he would have a pot on the right and a pot on the left, so it was even. So every day he'd walk down this dirt road and he would deliver water to people in the community. So one of the pots was, full. It was, all the clay was there. There was no breaks or holes in it. And the other pot had a hole in it and it was broken in some places. And so whenever the man would reach his final destination, the pot that had holes in it, it wouldn't have that much water in it, right? And the pot that didn't have holes in it would have a lot of water in it. So eventually, the pot that had holes in it, right, let's call it the imperfect pot, got upset about this, right? So he talked to the owner, the man who was delivering the water, and he said, "Hey, listen, I feel like I'm not doing a good job because I have a hole. There's a hole in me. I have cracks, and I'm not able to deliver the water as well as the other pot that has no holes, and that is just perfect." And the man says to this broken pot, "Don't you see what you can do, like that the other pot can't do? Have you ever noticed that when I walk along the dirt road, on the side that you're on, there's flowers blooming everywhere, and on the side that the full pot is on, there are no flowers. Every day I pick these flowers and I bring them to my customers and I bring them home to my family. You are perfect in your own way, and that's what makes you unique. And so I think this is a great anecdote because it helps you understand, yes, this pot was broken. Yes, we all have flaws. Learning to embrace them and to make them your strengths is really how you can create a story that people can connect with, because no one is perfect. Everyone goes through things. And that's how we really connect as human beings. And that should be part of your brand. This is the one I'm going to skip because we're not going to do this in a virtual presentation. So, stories, right? I said humans love stories. This is where it started. So with cave paintings. So this is a Magura cave in Bulgaria. These are the oldest cave paintings that have been found, from 8,000 to 4,000 years old. Then we move on to hieroglyphics from ancient Egypt, right? A little bit more sophisticated compared to the previous image I just showed you. From then on, we moved into oral traditions, right? So in Native American cultures and in Eastern cultures, stories were shared through myths, songs, and chants. Then we move on to more of these written languages that we started to understand more, right? Like Latin, the basis of many, many languages, and the love languages specifically. More recent kind of stories, right? And language. So tech and media, right? So we're sending text messages all the time. We send emojis. This is me on the right texting myself, so that's why it looks like that. But this is common, right? We communicate with emojis. We use double exclamation points. We have to use an LOL or else we're too serious. Now we have these memojis, right, that look kind of like you. And this is very normal. This is what communication has become. You see stories everywhere, right? So in the news notifications, they're kind of old screenshots, but the news notifications, you see stories. In the App Store, you see stories, and it's basically about different various things that you type in, and you see that there's stories now in the App Store, because stories just took over. They're a staple in social media, right? So social media, another way we communicate. So Snapchat originally had this idea of stories, right? Then Facebook stole it, and basically Facebook and Instagram took over, right? Good old Zuckerberg. And I watch stories all the time, like on Instagram. On Facebook, I don't use Facebook that much, and I don't use Snapchat. But we like to be connected with people and know what people are doing. It helps us, just feel like we know what's going on. So in your story, you are the main character, right? Let me just check the chat, make sure I'm not missing anything here. Oh yes, I saw that about fleets. I saw that today on Twitter. So basically, it's a disappearing tweet. You tweet something and then it'll go away after 24 hours, which I don't really understand the purpose. But I didn't read into it, so I also don't use Twitter that much. Anyway, so in your story, you're the main character, right? And it's easy to talk about yourself because it's the person that you know the most about. And in general, character is the way someone thinks, feels, and behaves, someone's personality, what someone stands for, holds dear, their values, principles, and their calling, right? Having a strong character is powerful. And lastly, the last part of your story, right? So your story, your life story, your character, and your experience. We're competent about our own experiences. So I kind of already said this, right? People love to talk about themselves. People love to be praised. People love to be noticed, complimented. It feels good. And we like to be able to share what we know with others. And this is part of my story. So this is me on the left, singer. I've been singing forever. And this is me on the right. So these are both left is 2012, right is 2013. So I lost 80 pounds, 80, on my own, intentionally. I was always overweight. I was considered obese. I was 230 pounds and I'm 5'9". And then I lost 80 pounds just through, 9 months of consistency, working out, changing my diet, cutting all the crap out of my diet. And I wanted to, change my story about who I was about myself. There was a catalyst for me at this show, actually, on the left. This was at FAU. There was a dress rehearsal the night before, and I could not catch my breath for the life of me, trying to like change outfits in between songs. I had to run off the stage, catch my breath. I had to vomit, and it was a mess. And my weight had stopped me from doing something that I loved so much. And that's when I knew I had to make a change, right? And get myself a lot better. And it wasn't only with, physically, it's mentally. So all the physical was a byproduct. Um, Mentally, I became strong. I became competent. I was emotionally, I became a lot more stable. Actually, in this left hand side, normally I don't share this part of the story, but I was quite depressed. I was taking 4 antidepressants, and I had been taking them since high school, so probably for 5 or 6 years. And I just wanted to get that out of my system. And so when I finished, right, it's never done. Maintenance is never done, but losing the weight, I stopped taking everything cold turkey, which is not what you're supposed to do, but it's what I did. And I never went back. It just completely changed who I became. And I also have to credit one of my college roommates who really inspired me, not even with weight loss, but when I first got to college, I went to UCF for 2 years in Orlando. Um, she was my roommate, and she was doing such cool stuff. She was like 18 years old. She had traveled, all over doing like mission trips. She was quite religious. She did a bunch of mission trips. She was going to do Teach for America. She was doing all these cool things. And I was like, Shelby, you do so many cool things. Like, I want to do this too. I want to have a story to tell. Little did I know, I just wanted a personal brand. I wanted something to share. And this is part of, writing your story. So the next segment is how others tell your story. So as I was doing research on personal branding, I concluded that there's basically 3 pillars of personal branding, right? So character, which we went over, experience, and reputation. Reputation is a really big part of it. So normally I'd ask, what is reputation? If you feel free to drop something in the chat, let me know what you think reputation is before I go to the next slide. If we have anyone who wants to share that, what you think reputation is. What you're known for. Yep, Allison, good one. Todd, yep, what others think about you. Yep, both correct. I totally agree. So we kind of touched on it already. A lot of this stuff intertwines, So sometimes it's hard to concretely define each one because it's all part of the bigger story and the bigger goal. Okay, we have one more response. James, how big your success is. Okay. Well, then how would you define success, James? That's a good question to think about. So what is reputation? So basically, Jesse Malton took this from Jeff Bezos' quote, right? So we have the first half of the quote there. Personal branding is a story people tell about you when you're not in the room. All you have in your life is your name and the reputation you garner. And I think this is a very powerful quote. So let me see. So James, what you contribute is how big your success is. Yeah, I think that's cool. I like that you're defining success as contribution to whatever it is that you might be doing. And that definitely plays in here. So reputation is basically everything that all of you said, how other people conceive you and what people think of you and your personal brand. Part of your reputation is impression management. So this is a sociological concept. I have my bachelor's in sociology and business administration, and I have a master's degree in sociology. And this is something that I learned in sociology, and I found it really interesting because sociology is a big combination of it's psychology, politics, economics, race, gender, religion. It's everything put together, basically. But impression management is the effort to control or influence other people's perceptions. So you'll see this a lot on social media. So maybe you know someone and they're going through some hard times, whatever it is. Right now, I mean, during this pandemic, I think many people are going through hard times, but say pre-corona, someone, they're kind of going through some things, but on social media, you can't tell. They are controlling how other people see them through what they post and through what they say, even though maybe they're having a hard time in life or whatever it is. And this is important because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Yes. So no one really knows who said that. So we're just there's a bunch of claims for who said that originally, but I'm gonna go with no one really knows. So some questions to think about as you're defining your personal brand and as you're writing your story or rewriting your story. So how would people describe you when you're not in the room? How would people summarize you when referring you for a job or an opportunity? And how would people remember your elevator pitch? So I challenge you to research your reputation. Take these questions, go ahead, take a screenshot, write them down, whatever you need to do, and start researching your reputation, right? Find out what other people are thinking of you, whether it's good or bad. Be open to constructive criticism because it's necessary for you to change your story and to write your story and create your personal brand, right? It's not a bad thing because now you know and you can change it. And then if you're only getting great feedback, that's awesome. So you know you're on the right path. But I gave this talk in the past, and I said to research your reputation, and there was actually a girl that was in the audience. Her name was Alex, and she literally created a survey and she posted it on LinkedIn. And this made me smile. I was a little bit confused just because people on LinkedIn don't totally know you, right? So maybe, yeah, you know a lot of the people you're connected with, but I mean, for LinkedIn, for me, I accept everyone's connection. I don't know a lot of people on my LinkedIn, right? Like it's a business network. So she created this survey to understand what people thought about her. And, you know, there was the people who do know her, but there was also the people who didn't know her. And so the impressions they were getting were based off of, you know, what her profile said, her profile picture, the posts that she made, maybe the other people that she is connected with, you know, things like that. And I thought this was a really great way to research your reputation. So this is a good idea if you want to try this out. So just something to think about. 82% of investors want the companies they invest in to have a strong brand. So if you think of yourself as the company, right? So for me, for example, I'm an independent contractor, a freelancer, I have an LLC. So I think of myself as the company, right? I'm the product because I do the work. I'm service based right now. Um, if I have a strong brand, I have a better chance of people investing in me. And that's not just financially like speaking, right? So it's investing in me as like giving me an opportunity to speak or to teach or to sing at a gig or, you know, whatever it is. Like, for example, the way that I met Todd was awesome. He was actually at a talk that I did at Nova for a developers conference back in January or February. And I did a version of this talk, and that's all he needed to know that, you know, he wanted me to teach app over code. And because I had this, you know, this strong brand, and he actually helped me come up with the name of my branding color, which is not orange, it's mango. So increasing your brand value. This is where we get into, I think it's where we get into some cool stuff. So sell yourself, right? Pretty self-explanatory. Nothing too much to say there, but these are some things you can think about. And go ahead and type in the chat what you think is the most important, being authentic, trustworthy, or creative. So 22% of consumers say that authenticity is the most important brand attribute. 31%, which is the highest, say that trustworthiness is most important. And then 29% say it's creativity. What do you think? I'm curious to know what's most important when creating like a, you know, a brand and trying to sell yourself. Trust. Okay, so we got a lot of trust. We got a lot of trust agreeing. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, honesty, which is trust and authenticity. Yep, I agree. That's a good mix. Trustworthy, people want to know you're genuine and legit. Totally. You have to have a good reputation, right? You have to know that you do the work on time, you can meet deadlines, you're going to be on the call, people don't have to wonder where you are. You know, that's important. That's really important. Yeah, so a mix of trust and authenticity are the answers that we're getting, and I totally agree. I think that it's necessary to be both of those. Um, as far as being creative, yes, I think it's important if you're in a creative industry. Um, me as a creative person in general, as a singer, as a UX designer, as a content writer. I'm a creative person, so that's important for me. However, there are tons of companies with very, very well established brands that are not creative companies, like by I don't know, by maybe how I would judge them, like big pharma, right? So like pharmaceutical companies, not totally creative companies. That's not the product that they're putting out there, right? So it's not what you need to, for me, not the most important. I agree with all of you that it's trustworthiness and authenticity, because there are thousands of people who do what you do, right? For like, let me put it in terms of singing. There are hundreds of thousands of millions of singers in the world, right? But I'm the only Soleil. I'm the only me. I'm the only person who delivers it the way I do. And so that's the authenticity part of it, right? And that's important and it's valid. Let me just check the chat. Yeah, I agree with you, Todd. For pharma, trust is totally more important than creativity. Absolutely. So let's take a look at this. Um, this is Instagram, right? What do you guys think of this? So what I'm showing you here is the left side is where you can see the likes, the number of likes, and the right side you can't see the number of likes. Um, in my version of Instagram, I still have the capability to see the number of likes, but I know a lot of people that can't see them anymore. What do you think we're talking about here? What's more authentic? Does this make you like think about anything? Um, why would Instagram even implement not seeing the number of likes? I can go into the next slide. I mean, I have the answer, but I wanted to hear from you guys. But this is what Instagram said when they did that. So they want to focus on the photos and the videos that you share, not how many likes they get, right? It's about being authentic, about creating a less pressurized environment where people feel comfortable expressing themselves. So it's not like, oh, I didn't get 100 likes, I have to delete myself. Not delete myself, delete my post. I mean, now the algorithm is different on Instagram, so it's a lot harder to get visibility. But it is more authentic, or that's what they thought, if they were to remove the numbers, right? You can't like go through it. The psychology changes, things change. Yeah, all of you are correct in the chat. So, selling yourself. 4 tips here. Be relatable, right? Um, this is only for content creators. Shiana, I hope I'm saying your name right, Shiana. Uh, no, this update. This was done like last year or the year before even. I have all of my accounts are like business accounts or like creator accounts, but I can still see the numbers. They didn't roll it out to everyone. I know people who have only business accounts and they can't see the numbers. So I don't know how they chose, if it was at random or not, but I don't have this right side view. That's not what I can see. So selling yourself, you want to be relatable, right? So that's how we are able to connect as humans. Tell a story. Find something, someone says something and be like, oh yeah, I totally understand what you mean. I had this situation to happen to me, blah, blah, blah. Be inspirational, right? If you have something inspirational that you've done or that you want to share, do that, because you never know what someone is going through, right? Impression management, like I mentioned, that's a big thing in a lot of people's lives, especially now. So if you have something inspirational to share that will lift somebody up, you never know that you might be making that person's day, week, year, life, eternity. You don't know that. So share that. Be kind, right? It's always nice to be kind. There's no need to be anything but kind, because that comes back to you. I believe that. And be positive. We don't have room for negative Nancys, negative Normans, whatever, especially now, right? Positivity, kindness, all that energy comes back to you. So that's what you should give out. Fail forward. Okay, this is one of my favorite parts of this presentation. So, look at these famous failures on the right hand side. Albert Einstein wasn't able to speak until almost 4 years old. His teacher said he wouldn't be much. MJ, he got cut from the high school basketball team. Walt Disney, he was basically not creative and lacking imagination. Steve Jobs got fired from his own company. Oprah had no place in television, and then the Beatles got rejected, I don't know how many times before they finally got a deal. So basically, all of these people, they let go of fear. Fear holds us back a lot. It's instilled in many of us as we're growing up. It's just kind of the way that we're socialized. Um, so let go of that. It's not easy work, but it's worth it. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? Comfort is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. Get uncomfortable. That's how you will grow. And fail forward and fail fast, right? So basically, it's saying if you've never failed, you've never tried anything new. So I was actually reading an email that I got today, and I was like, wow, this is so relevant for this presentation. So I added this in, and it goes right along with this. So rejection letters. This is a copy of rejection letter from a record label regarding Madonna. I'm sure you're all familiar with Madonna, right? Recording artist. So basically, it's saying I enjoyed listening to Madonna. She's strong. I liked these 3 songs, but I hated one of these songs. I don't feel she's ready yet, but I do hear the basis for a strong artist. I'll pass. Good luck. Right? This is what the president, president of this company said. When Madonna finally signed with Sire Records in 1982, her debut album sold more than 10 million copies worldwide, and she went on to become the best-selling female artist of all time. So that was in 1982. She signed with Sire Records. When was this? There's no date on it. I was hoping there was a date or a year at least. But yeah, I mean, she failed, right? That was a failure, but she kept going. What's important is that you keep trying, right? You have to have that passion within you. It's like a fire burning in you. And that's what keeps you going. No matter how many people tell you no, you will find your tribe. You'll find your niche. You'll find the people who tell you yes. And then that's how you move forward. And then another one that I want to share. So this is about Andy Warhol, an artist from the Museum of Modern Art. This one's a little small to see, but basically Andy Warhol sent over a free piece of art to have it displayed in the collection at MoMA. So Museum of Modern Art is short is MoMA. This is in 1956. So the committee decided that they won't accept it for the collection. And they are not going to accept it as a gift. And if you read the PS at the bottom, PS, the drawing may be picked up from the museum at your convenience. That's my favorite part. And so Andy Warhol, right, and like I said, gave this for free. They rejected it. So now he has his own museum in Pittsburgh. And at MoMA, the museum that rejected him features 168 of his original works. And if you're not familiar with Andy Warhol by name, these are some of his most famous paintings. I'm sure you've seen them. If you've ever been to Wynwood in Miami, you've seen some of these, or the Campbell's soup and this sort of color palette with different people that he does. He has the banana also. So he failed, right? He failed and he kept going. Building relationships. Super, super, super important. So Peter Drucker, a great businessman. More business decisions occur over lunch and dinner than at any other time, yet no MBA courses are given on the subject. So the subject of rapport and relationship building and just being able to connect with people, like with a human as another human, right? This is how you establish your brand. This is how you get yourself out there and build your relationships so you can just keep growing. So 3 important things for building relationships. Mentors, you become who you surround yourself with. Rapport, so your richest resources are in your richest relationships. So rapport is just a way to, talk to people and understand other people and learn. So you reiterate what others are talking about. So I'm going to skip what I'm going to say because I'll say it after. I know there's another part in this that I'm going to get to. So these three things really, really important in building relationships. Networking and community. Your network is who you know. Your reputation is who knows you. And that's it. I think that's really powerful. Powerful. So this is what I was going to say before, actually, about rapport and learning and mentors and building relationships. So when in-person networking events were a big thing, right now you can do it virtually. It's still good, but not totally the same. So in-person networking events, I would, go, I would meet people, I would talk to them, I would take out my phone, get their LinkedIn, screenshot it if I wasn't able to, I would screenshot it just so I know who I met during the night. And then I would add them when I got home, and I would send a little message about what we talked about. So, hey, Greg, it was great to meet you at Sofo Goo, GEW event. I loved talking about mangoes with you. Can't wait till mango season. Talk to you soon. Something like that, just something personable, something fun, something that helps them remember who you are is really, really important. So it's a great way to help both your network and your reputation and establish rapport. Set yourself apart, right? So that comes back to your story, your experience, your character, your uniqueness. There is only one you. So find a focus, have a presence, choose a color, and share your brilliance. So find a focus. This is, in whatever your brand is going to be, in whatever your life decisions will be. My example that I like to use is that after I got my master's, I worked in academia for a bit. I taught, and then I traveled a lot. I was like a nomad. And I was like, well, what do I do now? Do I want to get like a real job, right, as I call it? Or like, do I go to law school? Or do I like focus on music? And so I ended up getting a real job because I had to work. But then I was like, well, do I go to law school, or do I like make an album and chase music? Do I go to law school? Do I chase music? And my reason for going to law school is because, okay, well, I'll have a steady job. If I get a scholarship, I won't be in debt. It'll be something that I can always do. But did I really want to do that? No. Like, it's great knowledge to have, like incredible knowledge. But I didn't really want to be a lawyer, right? That was just me like making a decision in fear. And I was able to find my focus from watching a Facebook video, of course. So the Facebook videos that always get me are dog videos, one, and like videos of people reuniting with other people. And then this one happened to be a video of an elderly woman, basically in hospice, right, in her last days of life. And the video said that they asked her, what are some things that you wish you did more of, or what are some things that you regret in life, or something like that. And she basically said, I regret not doing more of what I love. And at that point I was like, well, that's it. Not going to law school. Like, I'm going to chase music no matter what. It doesn't matter if it doesn't, pay me the big bucks or anything. It's what I love to do. It's my natural given talent, and this is my passion, right? It'll always be my passion project. It'll always be a way for me to release and be creative. And that's how I decided I wasn't going to law school. And I mean, I'm glad that I didn't go. So, and if you're thinking about going to law school, I am not discouraging you. You should totally go if that's what you want to do. Have a presence. So especially now, right? If you're doing like online stuff, online networking, online talks, whatever you're doing, have a presence, right? Introduce yourself to the people in the room. They're just humans. Say something that maybe will strike someone, in a good way that'll make them remember you. Like I said, the oddest thing one time. I wanted to meet this lady who worked at this company that I was interested in working at. And so I went to this event, and I met her. I was like, hey, her name is Lauren. I was like, hey, Lauren, I'm Emily, blah, blah, blah. And, we were talking. She's like, oh, I might forget your name. Like, I'm so terrible with names and blah, blah. I was like, oh, I'm Emily Schmemily. Like the weirdest thing. And then next time I saw her, she's like, oh, Emily Schmemily. And it was like, it's so ridiculous, but she remembered my name. And I'm not saying to go around and do that, but hey, I mean, it worked for me in the oddest situation. So yeah, just be present, right? You only have here and now. You only have your time and your thoughts. Use your presence. You don't have to be a fly on the wall. Share your brilliance. So if you're good at something, you know you're good at something, share that. You never know how that'll help someone. You never know how that'll help you, how that'll create new opportunities, relationships, all of that. And then choose a color. So I also love this part of the presentation, choosing colors. So 80% of people will recognize a brand because of the brand color. These are some popular brands and their colors and what these colors are supposed to mean. Um, so, and you see on the outside here, you have these brands with multiple colors in them. Um, so, what do you think? You have any feedback on any of these brands and what they mean and their colors? You think maybe some don't agree with the brand? Yes, Todd, I'm not $250,000 in debt. Thankful. Um, so I thought always think this is quite interesting. This is we talk about this a lot, like in the when I'm doing this live. But you see that let's see, John Deere is peaceful. Monster Energy, very peaceful. Yeah. Um, Beyond Petroleum, I mean, I think Publix is good for green. Exxon, exciting. I don't know. Maybe they just did that because of the EX. I wouldn't associate BP with peace or health either. What's another one? McDonald's, optimism, clarity, warmth. Sprint, definitely not clarity at all. I used to have Sprint, so that's why I say that. Let's see, what else do we have here? Taco Bell is wise, maybe when had a few drinks on the late night. That's a wise decision. Let's see. Let's go to see Blue. Yes, a lot of big businesses Blue. I was just about to go to Blue, Dennis. Good call. So trust, dependable, strength. What do we have in there? Are Oreos like really trustworthy? I mean, they're pretty dependable if you want something sweet. Facebook trust. I don't know about that these days. I mean, this is a little bit of an older image, and Facebook has totally changed. But yeah, no trust in Facebook. Like Pfizer. So we have some of the big pharma companies. Trust, dependable, strength. I don't know. I mean, that's more subjective. That depends on how you feel about medicines and big pharma, and if you understand how the insurance companies work and things like that, kickbacks, all of that in the US. It's very real. Yeah, so you have a lot of really, really interesting branding things here. Walmart, dependable. Walmart, I mean, they don't pay people that well, but they're dependable in the fact that they have everything. I mean, every time I've gone there, they've had what I needed. So I don't know. Where are you coming from, Shauna? What are you thinking when you say that? Walmart being dependable. What's your experience? Besides sales associates, you're right. Totally. They're not very helpful. Not very helpful. Dennis, you're right. Many are trusting the Pfizer vaccine will be effective. And hey, maybe it will be. Who's to say? We don't know. A lot of people trust Big Pharma. And that's fine. Whatever, that's their choice in life to do that. I don't want to get too far into that because I have to stay neutral here. But let's just move on to the next slide. So the most popular single colors included in trademarks. So Dennis, you're on to this one. Blue. Blue and red are tied, red, pink. Then you have yellow, green. And then when you get to, anything like 10% and under, you don't have that much, right? Brown is really, really minimal. There are not many brands that you can associate with brown. There's two that stick out, UPS and Hershey's for me. I can never really remember any other brands that have that use brown. Okay. All right. So, okay. So there's supposed to be another slide in here. I guess I took it out. But so colors can actually be trademarked to companies. There was a company like a German company, who used a magenta very close to the T-Mobile color. And T-Mobile sent them a cease and desist saying that they could no longer use it. And so the company had to stop using it. Right? It was a mom and pop shop. It was a very small company because T-Mobile actually has Magenta trademarked. You can do this. It has to be, it's not easy to get this trademark, but it's possible, right? So you have the Louboutin red. Many people are familiar with that. UPS brown, John Deere green, right? Some of the more popular ones. Tiffany blue. And actually, the way that I chose my brand color, I didn't really do any of this stuff. Like, okay, well, yellow means this color and orange means this color, and I didn't really put too much time into that. What I did personally, so when I chose my brand color, I was still in school. I did a boot camp for UX. And basically, I went around and I asked, because I knew I wanted to freelance and create an LLC, and I asked my classmates, my teacher, the staff, what color represents me? Like, what brand attributes represent me? What color, like, do you see for me? And the overwhelming response was like, some shade of like orange and yellow. And that's how I got my brand color. So for Clerico, it's mango. And then for Soleil, so Soleil means sun in French, like my brand color is more yellow. And that's just what I went with because I asked people. So that's something else that you can do. Just ask people like, hey, when you see me or when you see my product, what do you think? What color do you think about? Or what words do you think about? It's a great way to find out. Yeah, Allison, that's totally correct. Colors do mean a lot of different things. I actually go pretty deep into this in the UX course about color psychology. So interesting. So red can elicit hunger. It can be anger. It can be passion. It's a really strong color, right? It's a power color. It can do a lot of things. So that's why I think it's great not to just base it on like the psychology of it, but ask around. What do you think my color should be? What color do you see in me, kind of thing. Right, I want to make sure I don't go over time. So be consistent. 23% revenue increase due to consistent branding across all channels. And 90% of people expect to have the same branding across all platforms and channels. So what that means is your business Instagram, your business Facebook, your business Twitter, your website, your LinkedIn, all the photos on here, the photo at the bus stop, the photo on the billboard, they should all be the same. People should be able to recognize, like, oh, like, hey, I've seen that girl. She has the orange background and like she has the tattoos. She's like the glasses. I remember. I recognize her. That's how you're able to get yourself, recognized. Just be consistent in your branding. And your brand values impact. All right, last thing. You lead more, you learn more, and you earn more. That's about it. I mean, once you are an established personal brand, right? Once you're an established brand or have an established personal brand, if you are the product, you are able to become credible, right? So you have this trustworthiness aspect about you, this authenticity about you, maybe creativity. Excuse me. You can establish relationships. You have rapport. You can learn from other people, right? So as you're establishing yourself and you're growing, you're able to lead more because people trust you more and because your credibility is, top notch. And once you're able to lead more, you're able to learn more because now you're in rooms with people that you didn't think you'd be in or that you couldn't imagine yourself being in 3 months ago, right? So you're chosen to lead more, then you're learning more because you're getting uncomfortable, right? And you're growing, and then you're able to earn more. So once you learn more and have an established brand, you're able to charge more, excuse me, for your services. So as we're closing, I want you to think about again, what's your story, right? Do you like where it's going? Do you want to make some changes? It's never too late to make a change. And how are you going to transfer your story into your personal brand? And I'd love to stay in touch with all of you. Again, thank you so much for joining the talk. These are my main channels here, my LinkedIn, Instagram, my business Instagram. I don't use that one as much, but it is connected to my singing Instagram. If you want to check that out, you can check my other persona out, my portfolio, and then my emails. Please feel free to email me if you need anything, connect with me. We do have the UX course. I do teach at Boca Code. It's a great community. We have a Slack channel that you can join. just to become part of the community. Totally recommend that. It's totally free. And I am teaching an Intro to UX course. It's going to be at night in the second week of December. It's like 15, 16 hours or so. Just teaching UX skills that you can, apply to your current roles. Yeah, of course, you can take it and be a UX designer, but if you're in marketing, if you're a developer, if you're XYZ, you can just take these skills. The psychology is what I'm teaching you, and apply it to your role. So, thank you, Rebecca. Rebecca actually took the course, Mariela as well. They liked it. So those are also people to reach out if you'd like some testimonials. Todd sent the link in the course. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. You're very welcome, Allison. I'm so glad it was helpful. You're welcome, Shauna. You're welcome, Dennis. You're welcome, James. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much again. Thank you, Saida. So happy you guys are joining. Let me just stop my share so I could see your faces, and awesome, and just see who's here. I appreciate it so much. Todd, did you want to add anything, or
No, that was great. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed that, I mean, definitely consider signing up for Emily's UX course. It's really fantastic. I know Saida has already signed up, so we're looking forward to having you in the course. For those of you who don't know Saida, she's this brilliant local entrepreneur, also making an incredibly valuable app for the deaf community. Deaf and hard of hearing community, I should say. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, let's open it up for Emily and take some Q&A for a few minutes. We've got about 4 minutes left, so let's hit her. Come on, throw some tough questions out.
Yeah, does anyone have any questions or comments or anything maybe you want me to go over again? Feel free to unmute your mics and ask, or you can write in the chat if that's more comfortable for you.
I think I got one. Will telling stories give the viewers some perceptions relating to other sides of the story, relating to how employers sell their brand, or how the job candidates win at interviews, or how customers want those products?
So are you asking how the stories will affect those situations?
Yes.
I think it depends on how you formulate your story, right? So if you're formulating a story about you, so let's say you're formulating a story about James, about your life, about who you are, all you can do is be you and be authentic. And if you are a match for that employer or for that, opportunity or whatever it is, it will be for you. That's what I believe. So you can only share your story in a way that works for you and that is true to you. I will say that if you're trying to incorporate a story for a job, there are things that you need to take in consideration that recruiters and hiring managers look for, such as, will you be with them long term? A lot of people can you be loyal kind of to the job? Can you grow with the job? Things like that. So you have to take those things into consideration too, and just formulate that into your story. So when I was interviewing for a lot of jobs for UX, I had a whole bunch of interview questions and answers written out, and I memorized them. Like very common answers and very common questions and answers, and formula, like ways that people could ask things. And I memorized these things. So I could just kind of like spit it out when somebody asked a question on an interview, and it became like part of my hiring stories that I created.
Yeah, just a
Sounds
comment.
like second nature.
James.
It was.
Yeah, James, you heard it last night on the feedback on the pitch night. A lot of people starting off with a story that captures a little bit about yourself. It really helps sell yourself. Like, if you ever want to get some good examples, watch Shark Tank. And sometimes the investors, they're going to ask, before they make an investment, they say, okay, fine, you know your numbers, you know this, you're always closing, you're great. Tell me a little about yourself. How did you get here? And those are really key. And last comment, I was in a very strange setting, but I was in a little group session at Apple where they asked the applicant pool, well, tell me about something, an obstacle you overcame. And this one guy, who was still not slim, had lost like 100 pounds over a period of like 18 months and had a lot of struggles. And it was like everybody just almost felt like saying, we should all give him the job. I mean, so sometimes leading off with a story that doesn't destroy you, but shows an obstacle or something you've overcome. And if you can make it relevant to this, to the sort of the job later on in the discussion, that's really kind of a great selling technique. Last comment, listen to any executive, a polished exec, no matter what the topic is, even if they're laying off 10,000 people, they always somehow start off the first minute or two relating something about some story or some incident that has really nothing to do with the topic on hand. So that, I think that is a great way to, like even when Emily, kicked off the class tonight, knowing she's out there presenting, knowing she's out there performing, she has a much more way to draw in the audience quickly than some other people that just get up there and put the notes up and just start lecturing. So those are my comments.
I was impressed when I heard the story about how she took the time to lose some weight and how it motivated her to keep going.
Thank you so much, both James and Dennis. Dennis, your comments are on point. I actually, that story in the middle about my roommate, I normally start with that. So I forgot. So that's normally my, my bait.
Stories
But,
can be helpful in the discussion.
Sorry, Dennis, you cut out.
Sometimes stories can be very relevant as a little filler. It doesn't have to always be at the beginning, but it does help to personalize discussions.
Oh, absolutely. And like, for example, James, in regards to what Dennis was saying about the guy in the Apple interviewing pool. So that's not related to the job, right? But the way that you can make it related is like, for me, it would be like, okay, yes, I lost the weight, but the physical was the byproduct. What mattered was the mental. It shows that, you can focus on something, you can be disciplined, you can persevere, you can jump through hurdles and get, through obstacles, as long as you're determined to reach your end goal. So that's a way to like turn it around and use your story, whatever it is, to make it applicable to the situation, like the skills, the transferable skills that you've gotten from that situation.
Yeah, it takes a lot of perseverance and dedication. So awesome, great talk, great questions. Thank you guys all for participating. Like Emily said, if you want to reach out, you have her contact information, and hopefully we'll get a couple of you signed up for her UX course. And please continue to come to these events. We've got a bunch this week. Ashley Kays is talking twice. I've got a couple more talks this week, and please, come out, enjoy all the Global Entrepreneur Week events. And thanks so much, Emily. We really appreciate you and love having you part of Book of Code.